What are these images that I see? They are all black. What can they be? Why are they eating up my mind? When I return, what shall I find?
Introduction. Al Estrada, formerly known as the Chemist, now known as many things. A man who was once on the hippie trail, a broad-minded kind of guy who was doped up on some serious life-threatening mushrooms before happening upon an unexpected sight with a life-changing kiss that would lead Al towards the way of true enlightenment. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Estrada has discovered the way to nirvana, for he has traveled far and seen many wonders. And as of now, he had finally uncovered the way to a real mindfuck. And Al, puncturing a hole into his forehead, feeling the squishy mushrooms before falling to his knees, and taking the final step in achieving that bliss. For only the monks can show Al the way. And how rewarding it was when Al's cranium would be penetrated, his brains literally being fucked. A fellow monk, yinging his yang. One can only imagine the glorious wonders Al would achieve, for he had finally seen the light. And my friends, it was the beautiful color of purple. Gore Angels. It is not your typical manga. It's a series about these demons of justice who go around butchering, torturing, and cannibalizing men who have committed horrendous acts against women, specifically rape. Because of its graphic nature, controversy, and excessive use of violence, rape, and torture, you can easily see why Gore Angels can only be found in the underground market of Japan, and not on the shelves of bookstores or comic stores. And so far, it's quite popular. Except, the artist, the creator, has chosen to remain anonymous, thus the credit being given to a different person. Only a couple people know the true creator behind Gore Angels, and Cody being one of them when meddling within Amiko's studio. Definitely something that was not meant for his eyes. I mean, even though there's a great deal of violence and torture against men, castration, cannibalism, in very graphic detail, and can only be sold as a porn comic, Cody can't help but find Amiko's work amazing, very creative. You can definitely tell that Amiko had put a lot of passion into this. Amiko's mother, her father downstairs, they don't know about Gore Angels, and it's going to stay that way, which is why it's published under a different name. And even though Amiko can see Cody's concern with her work, yeah, Cody may find her artwork amazing, but she can easily see that he doesn't approve this. And so what? Amiko doesn't need his approval. And that is true. She doesn't. But let's talk about why Cody is here. Why he came all the way to Kojisan to find Amiko. And that's because he knows. Cody knows what happened that night. And Cody holding up a sketch of a victim being raped. He knows about this. Introduction, Martha, Toby, just a couple on a sightseeing vacation, seeking that enlightenment and experiencing the benefits of study and meditation before hitting up the village gift shops. And it looks like Martha and Toby are about to be thrown into an unexpected situation when seeing a young couple running towards them. It's not every day you see a young man with a woman who wasn't wearing any pants. Martha and Toby having no idea what's happening. Obviously one can tell they're running away from something. Perhaps they're vandalizers, or a couple kids who are on a bad trip. Martha thought it was one of them prank shows. And Martha, being the good Samaritan, immediately began looking through her backpack when the young girl asked if she could spare any pants or trousers. Nothing but a baggy set of shorts for swimming. Not Natalie's style, but better than nothing. And even though Ryan tried explaining what was happening as quickly as possible, urging them to leave, Toby knew that this was definitely the signs of a bad trip when hearing a story about them being chased by psychotic, perverted monks. And just like that, Ryan and Natalie began making a run for it, running off with Martha's shorts. At least they could have offered to pay for the shorts. But seeing how they're on drugs or something, Martha thought it would be best to leave them be. Surely she could find another pair in one of them gift shops or something. But when Toby finally saw what was chasing them, that moment when everything made sense. It's just that Toby never thought that this unexpected situation would result with them being attacked by psychotic, perverted monks. Seeing how it's day 0, the start of the outbreak, it should be self-explanatory why Natalie and Ryan are convinced that they're in the midst of a cult hysteria. That maybe this is another Jonestown incident, a mass suicide. But Ryan, seeing the tied-up monk, about to have his head smashed into a giant bell by another psychotic monk, he couldn't help but feel that this was something far beyond a group of people sipping on cyanide Kool-Aid. Cody refusing to answer his phone, assuming that his 2 friends are probably drugged up or something. It's now up to Ryan and Natalie to find a way out of this monastery and make their way to the small village to find their friend. And Ryan witnessing the monk having his head smashed in, how it sounded like a smashed watermelon, and Ryan and Natalie watching the other monk eating the dripping remains of the smashed head. The only thing that ran through Ryan's mind, what the fuck is going on? Now, you know why Emiko had to leave America, and the reasons why she couldn't go to the police is because her mother, her father would find out. It would hurt them. As to how Cody found out, well, it was the photos and the video that went around, going around, meaning that if you Google amateur Asian gangbang, Emiko's video would be found in the top charts. Over 140,000 hits. Practically everyone seen it. And that video was sent to Emiko the day after she was raped, with a threat that if she were to go to anyone about this, the police, if she didn't keep her mouth shut, it would be sent to her parents. But how? How exactly can Emiko say it's rape when it doesn't look like she's fighting? Who's going to believe that she was drugged? Fact is, Cody wasted his time coming here because there's nothing he can do to stop this. Nothing. Besides, Emiko is already dealing with it in her own way. Immediately, Cody disagreed with Emiko. Dealing with it? Meaning with this gore angels? Yes, Emiko is very talented, but how is creating a manga of cannibalistic women who punish and torture rapists going to help her with this situation? Those men who did this to Emiko, they're real, and they're still out there, and they're most likely going to do this again. And even though Emiko doesn't want Cody's help, that it's none of his business. No, the people who did this to her, there's no way Cody can let those bastards get away with this. And even though they may have photoshopped their faces and hid their identities, it looks like whoever made the video made a classic mistake. That if you look closely, look at the reflection on the window, you'll see a familiar face. Emiko may not know who that is, but Cody does. Ryan, who's desperately trying to find his friend in this small village. More like trying to get the hell out of this place before ending up getting gangbanged by a group of psychotic monks. An old man noticing these Americans, an art dealer, maybe potential customers, or not. All Americans look the same to the old man. Looking for their friend. Maybe their friend is inside that coffee shop. Miss Takahashi, who just loves seeing American tourists coming into her store, except it seems like her mind is on something else. Motherly instincts, if you want to call it. That boy earlier, and now these two. Only a mother can tell that there's something more to this than just tourists. And Ryan showing the woman a photo of his friend. Of course they're not tourists. Too much of a coincidence for tourists who happen to be friends of her daughter Amiko. And I think we can figure out why Ryan was thrown off when hearing that name. His demeanor immediately changed. Strange how all the horrible things that Ryan had just witnessed would wash away when hearing that name. It took a minute, but I think Ryan was starting to figure it all out. This trip, Cody, and even though it looks like Ryan may have gotten himself in this situation, let's not forget what's happening outside. Outside is the beginning of a new world, and what better way to bring Ryan back to reality than having a decapitated head being thrown through the window. Ryan and Natalie looking down at the head, once again being brought back to the horror. One way or another, my friends, you know that this trip is not going to end well.